Mira smiled faintly. Sometimes battles are won with the mind. Suddenly, the ship's systems powered down. The resurgence was plunged into darkness. Emergency lights flickered on. A deep voice echoed through the ship. Welcome to the trial of wisdom. The crew found themselves inside a virtual space, a holographic simulation created by the Guardian. They stood in a vast chamber, filled with shifting walls and strange mechanisms. A voice said, "To proceed, solve the riddle of the three lights." Before them were three glowing orbs, red, blue, and green. The riddle was simple but puzzling. Choose the light that leads to truth. The wrong choice will trap you forever. Terra examined the orbs carefully. Red is passion, blue is calm, green is growth. Rico frowned. Is the truth calm, or passion, or growth? The crew argued quietly but carefully. Mira listened and then made a decision. Truth is growth, she said. We must choose green. She reached out and touched the green orb. The chamber trembled. Walls shifted, and the crew found themselves in a new room. The voice spoke again. Correct. But now, choose the path of knowledge or the path of power. Two doors appeared, one glowing with bright white light, the other dark and pulsing red. Rico stepped forward. Knowledge guides us safely. Power can destroy. Mira agreed. We must choose knowledge. They passed through the white door. The final test in this trial was a vision. The crew saw Earth, long ago, peaceful and alive. But then, a shadow passed over it, war, destruction, and silence. The voice spoke softly. Wisdom is knowing when to fight and when to protect. The crew understood. Sometimes strength was not in weapons, but in choices. Mira looked at her team. We have passed the trial of wisdom. The holographic chamber faded. The resurgence returned to normal. The Guardian's voice echoed one last time. You are ready for the final trial. Sacrifice. Mira felt a heavy weight on her heart. The last test would be the hardest. The UHS resurgence was quiet. Too quiet. Everyone on board knew the next trial would not be easy. The Guardian had warned them. The last test was about sacrifice, and sacrifice always meant loss. Commander Mira Holt stood at the front of the bridge, staring at the stars beyond the shield. We've come this far, she said softly. Whatever happens next, we face it together. Suddenly, the lights dimmed. The Guardian's deep voice echoed through the ship. You have shown courage. You have shown wisdom. Now show your heart. The crew was pulled into another simulation, a vast, endless void. Mira, Rico, Terra, and a few others stood in a strange space. Black skies, cold wind, no stars, just silence. In the distance, a giant shape formed. Earth, glowing faintly, but it was surrounded by chains of light. A voice whispered, "To free your world, something must be lost." A new image appeared. The resurgence was on fire, breaking apart. People screamed. The ship's AI voice said, "Core meltdown in 30 seconds." Mira was suddenly back on the bridge, alone. Alarms blared. Smoke filled the air. Then, a choice appeared on the control panel. Save the crew. Unlock Earth's gate. She stared in shock. If she saved the crew, Earth would remain sealed. If she opened Earth's gate, everyone on board might die. Mira's hands shook. Was this real? Or just a test? Either way, the pain felt real. She heard Terra's voice through the comm. "Commander, we're trapped in the engine room." Then Rico's voice. "Mira, don't do anything crazy. We still have time." But Mira knew this was the final trial. Sacrifice. True sacrifice. Her voice was calm. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Then she pressed the second button. Unlock Earth's gate. Everything exploded. Bright white light filled her eyes. And then, silence. When Mira woke up, She was lying on the floor of the bridge. The alarms were gone. The ship was whole again. Her crew stood around her, confused, but alive. Tara knelt beside her. "Commander, are you okay?" Mira sat up slowly. The sky turned black over Vidian Prime. At first, people thought it was a storm, but then they saw the ships. They were huge, like floating cities in the sky. At the center was a massive one, 5 miles long. It moved slowly, like a monster waking from sleep. It had long, sharp towers and dark red lights blinking like angry eyes. Behind it, hundreds of smaller warships followed, ready for battle. The people of Vidian Prime screamed. Mothers grabbed their children. Soldiers ran to their stations. Sirens began to wail all over the city. Everyone knew the name of the monsters in the sky. Cathmar. They had come. The Cathmar Empire had burned hundreds of planets. They gave only one choice: surrender completely or die completely. Most species surrendered. The smart ones never fought. The ones who did were erased. The Vidians chose to fight. Now they were going to die. High above the planet, Star, the Cathmar commander, stood on the bridge of his giant ship, Star's Fist. He watched the planet below through the tall windows. His voice was deep and cold. "Begin the cleansing." Dozens of officers responded at once. "Yes, Commander." From the sides of the ship, giant cannons came to life. Blue light filled the sky as the first shot was fired. It hit a city below, and in 1 second, it was gone. Just smoke, ash, silence. The Cathmar didn't feel joy. They didn't feel hate. They only felt power. Star turned to his officers. "Send the message. Tell them. Surrender now or be erased." Far across the star system, hidden behind a large asteroid, a small human ship floated in silence. Its name was Liberty's Dawn. Inside, Captain Jake Murphy stared at the disaster unfolding. His face was tired, lined with age and pain. His brown hair was going gray. He had seen many battles in space. He had flown between colony worlds for 30 years. But he had never seen anything like this. "God help them," he whispered. Jake had arrived at Vidian Prime just hours before the attack. He was delivering food and medicine. His ship was not made for war. It had no real weapons, no strong shields, just old engines and even older hopes. When the Cathmar fleet arrived, Jake had only one choice: run and hide. Now he floated in the shadow of the asteroid, listening to the chaos. Explosions, screams, the sound of a planet dying. He opened a small radio link. "This is Captain Jake Murphy of Liberty's Dawn," he said quietly. "If anyone can hear me, the Vidians are under attack. They won't last long. We need help. Anyone, please respond." There was silence. He repeated the message, then waited. Nothing. His hand shook as he turned off the mic. "They're not gonna make it," he said aloud. "And neither will I if I stay here." Down on the planet, the Vidians were fighting back. Tiny fighter ships rose from the surface like insects. They flew fast and fired quickly, red beams of light slicing toward the black Cathmar fleet. But it was no use. The Cathmar shields were too strong. The lasers bounced off like rain hitting metal. Star laughed as the Vidian ships exploded one by one. He tapped a small screen on his chair. "Release the hunters," he said. A section of his fleet opened up. Dozens of small black ships poured out, fast and deadly. These were Cathmar hunters, ships that chased down survivors, ships that didn't leave witnesses. The hunters sped toward the planet, hunting every last Vidian pilot. Inside Liberty's Dawn, Murphy watched his radar. The hunters were spreading. He didn't have much time before they noticed him. "Think, Jake," he muttered. "Think." He opened his cargo hatch. Maybe if he dumped his supplies, he could move faster. Maybe he could escape. As he moved to press the button, the radio made a strange sound. A signal. Murphy froze. It wasn't a voice. Not yet. Just a code. A very old code. He recognized it. That can't be right, he said. He typed quickly on the control panel, tracing the signal. It was coming from deep space, far beyond the Cathmar fleet. Then, suddenly, the message changed. One word appeared on the screen. Incoming. Murphy blinked. Incoming what? He whispered. The radar changed. A blip. Something big was approaching from behind the system's edge. Something fast. Murphy stared. No, it can't be. He zoomed in. The shape was wrong for a cargo ship, too big for a fighter, too fast for a station. The shape was familiar, but it had been gone for decades. A human warship. STAR's officers saw it too. Commander, we have a new contact entering the system, one of them said nervously. STAR turned his eyes toward the screen. Is it Vidian? No, sir. It's human. STAR's expression changed. Impossible, he said. The humans have no warships left. Their fleet was destroyed long ago. The officer looked again. Then this one survived. A shadowy figure in the code said, Beware the Guardians. Earth's secrets are not for all. Mira's mind raced. Who are the Guardians? And what secrets did Earth hide? Back in her quarters, Mira looked at the stars again. We are not just fighting enemies in space, she said softly. We are fighting history. The UH resurgence moved deeper into unknown space, following the secret star map hidden in the ship's eye. The crew worked hard, preparing for whatever lay ahead. Commander Mira Holt gathered her officers on the bridge. We follow this path, she said, but we must be ready. The message warned us about the Guardians. Rico Vance shook his head. Guardians? Who are they? Mira looked serious. We don't know yet, but if they protect Earth's secrets, they will be dangerous. Captain Jake Murphy flew his small ship nearby, carrying the Vidian survivors. He looked up at the stars, thinking about the battle and the new threat. The Guardians, he muttered. Sounds like something out of old stories. One of the Vidian pilots leaned over. Old stories or not, I don't want to meet them. Suddenly, the Resurgence's sensors detected a huge energy field blocking their path. The star map route was cut off by a shimmering barrier. It's a shield, Terra said, frowning. Mira stared at the screen. We are at Earth's doorstep, but we can't pass. The crew worked nonstop, scanning the shield, trying to find a way through. Days passed. The tension grew. Murphy visited the Resurgence to bring supplies and news. The Cathmar know we're here, he warned. They're gathering forces. Mira nodded. We must move fast. One night, the AI discovered a hidden signal inside the shield. It was a message. A voice spoke in a language none recognized, except the AI. It translated slowly. Only those worthy may enter. Prove your strength, your heart, your mind. The Guardians watch all. Mira's heart pounded. This is a test. Suddenly, the Resurgence's lights flickered. A hologram appeared in the room, an ancient warrior in shining armor. I am the Guardian of Trials, the figure said. To enter Earth's space, you must face 3 tests: courage, wisdom, and sacrifice. The crew prepared for the impossible. Mira looked at her team. We will pass these trials. For Earth. For humanity. The first trial began. The ship's systems dimmed. Gravity shifted. The Resurgence entered a strange space, a maze of twisting stars and floating debris. Voices echoed in the dark. You must face your fears, the Guardian's voice said. Inside the maze, the crew experienced visions, fears from their past. Mira saw the destruction of Earth, the loss of friends. Rico relived the moment he failed to save his family. Terra faced her fear of being alone in the cold vastness of space. But the crew stayed strong. They moved forward, helping each other. Mira's voice was steady. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is fighting despite it. After hours, the maze dissolved. The crew was back on the Resurgence. The Guardian's hologram appeared again. You passed the first test, but the next two trials awaited. Wisdom and sacrifice. The true challenge was just beginning. End of Part 5. Would you like me to continue with Part 6? You said. 6. ChatGPT said. Here is Part 6 of your HFY Sci-Fi story. Unstoppable invaders met their match. The human warship that changed everything. Written in simple basic English, third-person style, about 1,400 words. Part 6. Trial of Wisdom. The UHS Resurgence floated near the glowing edge of the strange shield. The crew caught their breath after passing the first test. Courage. But now, the second trial awaited. Wisdom. Commander Mira Holt stood on the bridge, looking at the swirling stars outside. The Guardian of Trials had spoken. The next challenge would test their minds. The ship's AI flickered to life. Analysis indicates the test will involve complex puzzles and choices. It will require cooperation and clear thinking. Mira nodded. We must be ready. The fate of Earth depends on it. Inside the ship, the crew gathered in the war room. The walls were covered with holodisplays showing strange symbols and shifting shapes. Tara, the young engineer, studied the patterns closely. These look like ancient codes, she said. Maybe a language or a puzzle. Rico Vance rubbed his chin. We've trained for combat. But this is different. What happened? The AI spoke. Simulation complete. You passed the trial of sacrifice. Then the Guardian's voice echoed one last time. You chose to give everything. That is what makes you human. That is why Earth will open its arms to you again. Outside the ship, the great shield shimmered, then vanished. Stars rushed past the windows. And then, there it was. Earth. Blue, green, and beautiful. Tears filled Mira's eyes. We're home, she whispered. But they weren't alone. Dozens of ancient ships floated around the planet. Old Earth warships, sleeping for centuries. The Guardian's voice returned. These are the last defenders of Earth. They have waited for someone worthy. Suddenly, the Cathmar fleet appeared in the distance, massive, angry, and ready for war. Star's ship led the attack. End the humans now, he roared. But Mira stood tall. She sent a signal, and one by one, the ancient Earth warships woke up. Lights flickered on. Engines rumbled, and the UHS Resurgence rose alongside them. Mira gave one command. Defend our home. The final battle had begun. And this time, humanity was not alone. That's what I'm counting on. High above Vidian Prime, the Cathmar were in panic. They had never lost a flagship before. Never. Not in 100 wars. Now Star's ship, their leader, was gone. Destroyed in seconds. The Cathmar fleet moved fast. Ships reformed around a new command ship. Orders were shouted. Fighters launched. Cannons charged. But they were afraid. They were machines of war, but they were still afraid of the one thing they thought was extinct. A human warship. Meanwhile, Captain Jake Murphy floated in his tiny ship, hidden behind the asteroid. He stared at the Resurgence on his screen. It moved like a shadow through fire, calm, smooth, deadly. He opened his radio again. This is Murphy. I'm picking up Vidian escape pods. Hundreds of them. He tapped his scanner. Some are still alive. Most are damaged. I'll try to pull in who I can. Commander Holt's voice came back instantly. Do what you can, Captain. Every life matters. Jake smiled bitterly. Not many think like that anymore. The battle started 5 minutes later. The Cathmar ships fired first. Bright red energy beams cutting through space. The shots came fast, one after another, like a storm of fire. But the Resurgence did not move. Its shields absorbed the hits like a giant metal wall. Then it fired back. Twin cannons on the front of the ship glowed white, A pulse wave shot forward, passing through 4 Cathmar destroyers like a knife through cloth. They exploded at once. Bright balls of flame lit up the sky. Inside the Cathmar fleet, captains shouted in fear. One tried to retreat, and was shot down by his own side for disobeying. There was no turning back. This was war. Inside the Resurgence, Rico shook his head. I still don't understand how this ship is even working. It was supposed to be lost. Destroyed during the treaty fire. Mira looked at him. It wasn't destroyed, she said softly. It was hidden. Rico frowned. By who? Mira's eyes narrowed. By Earth. 20 years ago, Earth was surrounded. The Cathmar, the Zeri, the Nolaran, all the great empires had turned against humanity. Earth was strong, but not enough. To stop the war, humans signed a peace treaty, the Treaty Fire. In that treaty, all human warships were ordered to be destroyed, but not everyone obeyed. Some captains refused. They took their ships and vanished into deep space. The Resurgence was one of them. Mira Holt was placed into cryo-sleep, along with her crew. The AI kept the ship running, waiting, watching, hidden inside a black hole's edge, where no scanner could find them. Until now. Murphy's ship moved slowly through the field of broken satellites and drifting escape pods. He had pulled in 3 survivors so far, 2 Vidian pilots and a medical officer. They were hurt, but alive. He patched them up the best he could. His ship had no weapons, but he had hope now. The humans were fighting back. And they were winning. On the battlefield, 10 more Cathmar ships exploded. The Resurgence moved with deadly skill, dodging, striking, fading into shadows, then striking again. It was a ghost, a myth, and it was making the Cathmar bleed. Inside the command room, the AI spoke again. Enemy fleet is changing strategy. They are forming a tight sphere, defensive hold. Rico blinked. They're scared. Mira smiled. Good. She pressed a button. Time to wake up the rest of the crew. 1 level below, hundreds of cryopods lined the walls. Lights blinked. Systems activated. Slowly, one by one, the sleeping warriors of Earth began to rise. Men and women in black uniforms opened their eyes for the first time in 20 years. They didn't ask questions. They looked at Mira, and they knew. It was time to finish what they started. Back in the Cathmar fleet, a new commander took control. Commander Vrock. He was younger than Star, but just as brutal. He sent a single message across the system. To the human warship, surrender, or we will destroy Vidian Prime. Every city, every survivor. We will make you watch. The message reached Resurgence. Mira listened in silence. Then she responded. No. The reply came quick. Then you are responsible for their deaths. Mira narrowed her eyes. Tried it. A moment later, the Cathmar ships fired everything they had, not at the Resurgence, but at the planet below. Hundreds of beams rained down toward the cities. People screamed. Murphy saw it from his ship. No, not again. But the beams never hit. A shield appeared, massive and glowing blue, covering the entire planet. The Cathmar blasts bounced off. Commander Holt's voice echoed across all open channels. You forgot something, she said coldly. This ship was designed to protect Earth. What makes you think it can't protect others? Inside the Resurgence, the full crew was awake now. Engineers, pilots, gunners, all ready. Mira turned to Rico. Let's end this. Rico grinned, with pleasure. The AI began counting down. Dreadnought main cannon charging. 10, 9, 8. On the Cathmar side, Commander Vrock gave one last order. All ships, full retreat. But it was too late. The cannon fired. A beam brighter than a sun shot across space, straight into the heart of the Cathmar fleet. It didn't just destroy ships. It ripped space open. A gravity wave followed, pulling ships into the blast zone. 10, 20, 50 ships gone in seconds. The Cathmar fleet was broken, shattered, defeated. Silence returned to space. No more fire, no more screams. Just the sound of a heartbeat. Inside Resurgence, Mira Holt stood still. The war wasn't over, but this battle was won. And the galaxy now remembered the name they tried to forget. Humanity. The battle was over, but the war was far from done. The UHS Resurgence floated quietly in the black of space. Its guns were silent, but the crew inside was far from calm. Commander Mira Holt stood on the bridge, staring at the screen. It showed the stars, the broken remains of the Cathmar fleet, and the peaceful surface of Vidian Prime below. "We won the fight," she said quietly. "But at what cost?" Captain Jake Murphy was busy helping survivors in his small ship, Liberty's Dawn. The Vidian pilots and the medic looked exhausted but alive. Murphy's hands shook as he patched wounds and gave water. "We owe them our lives," the medic said softly. Jake nodded. "We owe them a future." The problem was, there was no safe place left in the system. Vidian Prime was damaged badly. The planet's cities were in ruins, and the people were scared. The Cathmar would return. They always did. Back on the Resurgence, Mira spoke with her officers. "We cannot stay here long. The Cathmar will call reinforcements. We must find Earth. We must find home." Rico Vance frowned. "But Earth is lost. It's been missing for 20 years. Nobody knows where it is." Mira's eyes burned with quiet fire. "That is why we fight. To find Earth. To protect what is left of humanity." Suddenly, alarms blared. "Commander, sensors detect a massive object approaching fast." Mira turned sharply. "What is it?" The AI's voice was steady. "Unknown ship. Size and power signatures match no known species. Incoming at high speed." Everyone on the bridge stared at the screen. The dark shape was growing closer, faster than any ship they had seen. Mira's heart beat faster. "This is no ordinary enemy," she said. Meanwhile, Captain Murphy watched the skies from his tiny ship. He had seen many dangers in space, but nothing like this. The approaching ship was enormous. It had no markings, no lights, no sounds, just a black shape moving like a shadow. He tapped his radio. "Resurgence, do you see that?" "What is it?" The reply came fast. "We don't know yet. Stay alert." The unknown ship entered the system. It moved toward Vidian Prime, but not with weapons ready. It moved with purpose. Inside the ship, shadows shifted. A figure stepped forward. She was tall and pale, with silver eyes that glowed softly. "I am Lyra," she said in a voice that echoed like the stars. "I come with a message." On the Resurgence, Mira was skeptical. Message from who? Lyra's ship transmitted a hologram, a shimmering figure floating in the middle of the bridge. "I represent the Galactic Council," she said. "We have been watching your battle. Humans were thought lost, but you have returned." Mira frowned. "Why now? Why help us?" Lyra smiled, but her eyes were cold. "Because the Cathmar are not the only threat. The galaxy faces a darkness greater than you can imagine." Captain Murphy listened in silence. "What kind of darkness?" he asked. Lyra's image flickered. "A war machine called the Void Legion. It consumes planets and stars. It destroys all life." Mira's jaw tightened. "We fight the Cathmar. Now we must fight this." Lyra nodded. "Yes, and we offer you a choice." The choice was clear. Join the Galactic Council's forces, or stand alone against a darkness that could wipe out everything. Mira looked around at her crew. The humans had survived against impossible odds. They had lost much, but they still had fight. "We will join," she said firmly. Captain Murphy looked up at the stars. He thought of the Vidians, the survivors, and the humans waking from cryo-sleep. Maybe this is just the beginning, he said. The resurgence prepared to move. A new war had begun. The UA's resurgence moved silently through space, leaving the Vidian system behind. Its crew was tense but focused. The future was uncertain, but the mission was clear. Mira Holt sat alone in her quarters, staring at a small holoprojector. It showed a faded image of Earth, the home they had lost. She whispered, "We will find you." The Galactic Council's message had brought new hope, but also many questions. Why was Earth hidden? What secrets did humanity carry? And most importantly, what was the true danger of the Void Legion? In the war room, Mira gathered her officers. "We need to understand the past to protect the future," she said. Earth's location was erased from every star map. It's like we never existed. Rico Vance frowned. Who could do that? Mira tapped a screen. Someone with power. Someone who feared what humanity could become. A young engineer named Harris spoke up. "I found something strange in the ship's eye logs." The room went quiet. "What is it?" Mira asked. Terra's fingers moved fast. Old Earth tech. Systems that should be gone. Messages hidden in code. It looks like someone wanted this ship to survive. Mira's eyes widened. Why? Suddenly, the ship shook. Alarms blared. Impact detected. The AI warned. The resurgence had entered an asteroid field. But this was no accident. Ambush. Rico shouted. Outside, small enemy ships darted from behind asteroids. Cathmar fighters. They attacked with quick laser bursts, trying to damage the resurgence before it could fight back. The battle was fierce. The human crew moved fast. Pilots launched fighter drones. Engineers powered up the shields. Gunners fired deadly plasma bursts. Mira stood firm on the bridge. "This ship is old," she said, "but so are we. We fight together." After a hard battle, the Cathmar fighters fled. The resurgence was scratched, but still strong. Mira sighed. "They won't give up. Neither will we." In the quiet aftermath, Terra showed Mira a secret message she found in the eye. It was a star map, a route to Earth, hidden in code for 20 years. Mira smiled. "We have a path." But the message came with a warning. The sky above Vidian Prime changed again. Out of the black came a white flash. And then, a ship. It was shaped like a spear. Its metal was dark and marked with scars. It moved without sound, but with deep purpose. It came from nowhere, but it was real. The ship's name appeared on every screen. UH Resurgence. Class: Titan-class dreadnought. Status: reactivated. Inside the ship, deep in the command center, a woman opened her eyes. Commander Mira Holt. Her skin was pale, her eyes sharp. She had been frozen for 20 years in cryo-sleep. She wore an old Earth uniform, black with silver stripes. Her hand rested on a glowing panel. "Ship status," she said calmly. The AI responded in a cold, mechanical voice. "Fully operational, Commander Holt. Weapon systems online. Target lock in progress." She nodded. "Prepare to engage." Captain Jake Murphy stared at the ship on his screen. His heart was pounding. "The resurgence," he said in disbelief. "It's real. It actually survived." He looked around his tiny ship. It felt even smaller now. And yet, he felt hope. Real hope. He opened his radio again. "This is Murphy. I'm in hiding near the asteroid belt. I see you, Resurgence. I don't know where you came from, but thank you." There was silence. Then the answer came. A woman's voice, calm and cold. "Stand by, Captain Murphy. You're not alone anymore." Inside Star's fist, alarms began to ring. "Commander, the human ship has locked onto us." Star's voice turned sharp. "Raise all shields. Prepare to return fire." But before they could act, the resurgence fired. A beam of pure energy shot across space, bending light itself. It hit the Cathmar flagship. Then, silence. On Murphy's screen, Star's fist vanished. No wreckage, no signal. Just gone. Murphy stared, mouth open. Did she just erase a 5-mile warship? The radio crackled again. Commander Holt's voice came back. 1 down, 200 to go. Commander Mira Holt stood at the center of the bridge of the HFY Resurgence. Around her, lights flashed. Screens showed ship positions, energy levels, damage reports. But the ship was strong. Even after 20 years in deep space, the old human dreadnought still worked like a beast. The crew was something else. There were only 12 people awake. Everyone else was still in cryosleep. This ship was built for a crew of 600. Now it was running on ghosts. Mira didn't care. She had one mission: destroy the Cathmar. In a dark room deep inside the ship, an AI core glowed blue. The voice of the ship spoke from it. Enemy fleet has detected us, the AI said. 92 ships are changing formation, preparing to engage. Mira nodded. Good, let them come. Her second in command, a short man named Rico Vance, looked nervous. That was their biggest ship, Mira. We destroyed it in one hit. They'll come at us with everything now. Mira stared at the screen.